the Fukushima Daiichi nuclear plant have another problem on their hands. Officials with Tokyo Electric Power Company say the levels of radioactivity more than 300 tons of highly radioactive water leaked last month out of the storage tank. The water's contents seem to be too acidic. Managers have assigned more monitors to check for radioactive materials.
I speak unto thee this day, and I say, when you look at the sorrow that is in the world in these days, why is it so? I say it is because my own people have refused to follow me and serve me in spirit and truth, but I say they've gone another way. And I say they have refused to eat the bread that I would give them, that would give them the strength to continue in the light, to pursue the light, to be brought forth in the way of truth that I provide. And I say because they've chosen a multitude of other ways, I say they pay for the same. Now I say you are living in a time when many have turned away from me. I say they've gone a-whoring after the doctrines of devils. I say they've pursued the course of vanity and vexation, and yes, they have loved it so. And I say in the pursuit of their own way, what have they gained? Nothing except separation from me. And I say that the world has grown under the estrangement of my own people from me, and I say there is nothing but misery on the horizon. That is, in the sense that when men separate themselves from me, what can they expect except the misery of the same? Now I say this day that I, the living God, do delight when men and women will keep their focus, their vision upon me, and come forth in my way. That is, when they will be willing to be uplifted, directed, and corrected by me, ever guided in the truth of who I am. For I say it is me, the living God, who is indeed the way of all righteousness, the way of all truth, and the way of mercy provided. And I say when the ones who are mine will keep their focus, their vision upon me, then they are brought forth by me. Now I say you are living in a time when many are taken in the lust of the flesh, the pride of life, and I say they are far distanced from me. And I say it is because they do not eat of the true bread, that is, that would strengthen them, that would cause them to run from sin and find their life in me. And I say because they do not live in the fear, the respect of me, what do? I say they take up doctrines of devils, they are poisoned in the same, and oh, what sorrow they have. Now I say this day that I, the living God, do not call thee to be taken in the lust of the flesh, the pride of life, and be estranged from me. But I say that I call thee to be thankful that I give to thee the truth, the light, the mercy day by day, that you can indeed come forth in the same. And I say that I call thee to be made glad that it is me you are privileged to love, to serve, and follow after, for I am the way of truth and light, mercy, hope, and peace provided. Now I say this day that I, the living God, am ever present unto the ones who desire to be led by me. That is, I'm ever present to give my spirit leading, my spirit guiding unto all who will accept and recognize the same. But I say when men push off my provision and take up the way of fools, what do? I say they go in a way that will prove to be destruction of their souls. Now I say this day that I, the living God, have called thee to trust yourselves to me, to look to me, to believe in me. That is, that you can be led and guided by my spirit, not pigeonholed in doctrines of devils only to die. For I say there are many who take up a vanguard of a particular doctrine, and I say they ride the horse into the ground. But I say they refuse to trust me enough to be led by my spirit. Therefore I say they do not expand nor grow nor develop in me. But I say they simply ride the same old horse for year after year after year after year until the horse drops dead beneath their thighs. Now I say this day that I, the living God, do not call thee to live in such a mindset that you are so terrified of following me that you are locked into doctrines of devils. Yet I say there are multitudes who die in such a way, and I say they never know what it is to have the Spirit-led life in them. That is, they go in a way that will pigeonhole them, that will lock them in a cell, and there they remain. then I say they repeat the same old doctrines year after year after year, gagging themselves on that. Now I say this day that I, the living God, have intended that my own people would trust me enough to follow me, would trust me enough to believe me, and know that I will indeed bring them forth. That is, I desire that my own people would be uplifted and directed, corrected and guided in the truth, the light, the mercy that I provide. Now I say, if you look upon what it is that I, the living God, do offer unto thee, I say that it is the way of life, the way of truth, and the way of mercy provided. And I say that I desire that you would be open to follow my spirit, to be ever instructed and guided in the same. Now I say this day that I, the living God, will give to thee the light upon the path. I will give to thee the truth that you have need of, and I will direct thee in all that I provide. Therefore I say, when you look to me, know that it is me, the living God, who is well able to keep thee. But I say, when you look to what it is that men will offer, what is it that they want to do? I say they want to put you in the same box, the same cell, the same old putrid mess that they are in. Now I say that I, the living God, have called my people to live, to abide, to follow my spirit all of their days upon this earth. For I say that I look for the ones who will believe me, trust me, and follow me in spirit and in truth. For I say that I, the living God, never called the ones who are indeed classified as spirit haters, yet I say they have set themselves as judges over my spirit. That is, they think they can dictate unto me, they can crush what it is that I desire to bring forth, and offer up their religious falsehood, and oh, that men will bow unto the same. But I say such ones want to play God, that is, they want to have the seat of complete authority and dominion, and I say they do not want to follow me. That is, they do not want to have to bow down, to beseech me, to seek me, to follow me in all that I ask of them. But I say they are as little cocky roosters, fat kings sitting on thrones and dictating how things should be. But I say that the truth of it is they are nowhere to be found in me. Now I say this day that I, the living God, do resist the proud, but I say that I give my mercy unto the humble, that is, the ones who will humble themselves before me. And I say, when any man or woman will cry out to be fed of me, I say they are given the bread of life. But I say, when the ones who are far from me will go on in their own headstrong ways, what do? I say they end in a ditch of mire, and I say they are estranged from me. And I say all the while the world is groaning and moaning, because it is lost, it is perishing, it is dying, and the ones who claim they are my people are playing their religious games. Now I say this day that I, the living God, do not call thee to play religious games, but I say that I call thee to be humbly following me. That is, seeking to please me, to obey me, to walk uprightly in me, and come forth in my way. For I say it is me, the living God, you are meant to seek, to please, to obey, and follow after, and not a multitude of other gods. And it is me, the living God, you are meant to seek, to please, for I am indeed the rock of refuge unto thee. Now I say this day, when you look upon what it is that I, the living God, do give to thee, I say it is the way of my life. And I say, if you will be thankful to be uplifted in the same, you are able to partake of me. Now I say this day that I, the living God, will indeed direct thee, correct thee, and guide thee forth, that you can be rejoicing always. And I say that I will indeed give to thee the truth and the light upon the path, that you can be made glad always. Now I say this day that I, the living God, do delight when my own people will be trusting me, and they will be guided by me. But I say, when they give themselves over to be led astray, led away, because they eat the bread of falsehood, they eat the bread of pretension and hypocrisy rather than the bread of life, I say they will be diseased and unable to stand. And I say they will not love the truth, but they will merely love their pet doctrine, riding the horse of the saint. And I say they will get nowhere at all, for their horse does not even run, it does not even move, for it is not alive. I say this day, if you looked upon a child who was riding a little rocking horse, where would he go? I say nowhere at all, even if he imagined he was galloping across the plain. And I say, so it is with those who find their little doctrinal devil that they love to ride and remain on the same, they go nowhere in me. But I say they only remain in the same place, stagnated and dulled out by the same. Now I say this day that I, the living God, have desired that my own people would be ever growing and expanding in me because they are trusting in me. That is, because they are yielding themselves over to be guided, directed, and instructed by me, the author and the finisher of their faith. And I say that I desire that my people would learn what it is to be guided in the Spirit, directed in the truth, and kept always in me. For I say it is me, the living God, who is righteousness, truth, blessedness, strength, and the mercy provided for all who will pay heed unto me. Now I say this day that I, the living God, am ever present to give to thee the truth, the light, the mercy, the strength, and the hope, as you will continue trusting and believing in me. And I say that I am ever present to show thee the way wherein you can be kept if you keep your vision stayed upon me. For I say it is me, the living God, who is the way of all righteousness, the way of all truth, and the way of mercy provided. And I say it is me, the living God, who directs, corrects, and brings forth the people who are willing to be made mine. Now I say this day that my people, that is, the ones who are claiming they love me and serve me, I say they are accountable to follow after me. And I say if they refuse to face that accountability, that responsibility, I say they are the ones who are accountable nonetheless. That is, in the sense that I, the living God, do hold them accountable for what it is they are meant to do, for the way they are meant to walk in me, and for the course they are meant to follow. And I say if they do not do what they are called to do, then I say they pay for the same. Now I say this day that I, the living God, do not call thee to walk afar off. I do not call thee to live in desolated places, but I say that I call thee to come forth as sheep, as lambs of my fold. That is, to be ever guided, directed, and instructed in truth, even in the darkest of times. For I say you have a responsibility to the sin-sick, the perishing, the dying world, to walk uprightly in me. And I say you are accountable to bring souls unto me, and I say you are accountable to instruct them in life. Now I say if you stop and consider how stupid it is for men to get off into doctrinal prison houses and beat the walls of the same because they are so proud they cannot humble themselves and cry out for deliverance of the mess they have got themselves in, what do? I say they only seek to bring others into their contamination, their ruination, and the same despair that they are in. Now I say this day that I, the living God, do not call thee to despair, but I say that I call thee to the life and the light of who I am. And I say that I call thee to be uplifted, strengthened, directed, and guided always in me. Now I say it is me, the living God, who will give to thee the truth, the light, the blessedness, and the mercy of who I am. Therefore I say, be coming forth, rejoicing, ever thankful that it is me that you serve. And I say, be coming forth, rejoicing, that it is me, the living God, who does offer to thee the truth and the light upon the path. For I say, if it is me that you look to, if it is me that you believe, if it is me that you will obey, I say you are ever guided in my way. Now I say this day that I, the living God, do not call thee to be taken down in a bog of doctrine that leads nowhere at all. But I say that I call thee to follow me in spirit and in truth, to be ever guided in my life. For I say that which comes of me will give unto those who believe life, and I say it will give them the life abundant. But I say that which comes of men and all of their power plays will do nothing but bring the crushing to my spirit life. Now I say this day that I, the living God, do not call thee to crushing, but I say that I call thee to rejoicing in me. And I say that I call thee to be uplifted and brought forth, ever guided and directed in the truth, the mercy, the hope of who I am. I say even now I call thee to be thankful that you can indeed be kept in that which I give thee, which is the truth and the light upon the path. And I say that I call thee to come forth rejoicing, because you are given the privilege to walk uprightly in me. I say when you look upon the sorrows that are in the world at this time, And then you look at the sheep who have no good shepherds, and you look at the desolation of those wandering. Why is it so? I say it is because my own people have failed to face their accountability, their responsibility unto me.